Hey, if you haven't joined us before, I want to welcome you. We do this every Wednesday evening at 5:30 my time. That's here in California. So it's a little bit later where some of our other people are at. So really appreciate you guys, being willing to come on, even though it's kind of later in the evening. And it's always good to hear from you. I don't know, for people who might be joining us for the first time, it might be cool if you guys just kind of let people know where you're at. It might be cool to kind of, everybody just kind of check in from what state or locality you are in. Like I said, I'm here in Santa Cruz, California. It's considered the central coast of California. I'm about halfway between San Francisco and Monterey. Yeah, something like that on the coast, or more like between San Jose, Monterey, something like that. Anyway, that's where I'm at. And it's a beautiful day here in Santa Cruz. And so this evening we were just kind of checking in before the live stream started. And Mike kind of had a question about, when in the process of designing a shower enclosure, do you decide to go from 3/8 to 1/2 inch glass? And then also, in what circumstances do you tend to go from regular clear glass to low iron glass? And I thought that was a great topic just to discuss. I mean, I know that people have a lot of different ways of approaching that. And it'd be interesting to hear what other people do.
Do you mind if, I do, well, when I go to people's houses, if they have a lighter tile, like a white or a cream color, where standard clear glass shows a lot more of the greenish hue look to it, I would tell them about low iron. And actually, I have two pieces of glass. I have a low iron glass and a standard clear glass, and I show them up to their tile how it would look, and I explain to them, in a bigger piece, you're going to see more of the green hue of the glass. And so instead of seeing your natural look of your tile, you're going to see a little tint to it. And probably, I would say 80% most of the time, people don't want that look. And so they'll want the ultra clear, Starfire, whichever you guys sell. They usually want it. But with that said, with this new price increase, I really have not really pushed it, because they know we're going to pay what it costs now for, that low iron price. So, I mean, and I don't want to scare anybody away from what it costs, because it's almost a double in the glass costs, how much it costs. So, but I do try to push it hard. I mean, I give the customers, when I bid them a quote, I do give them a price for low iron, and I give them a price for standard clear glass. Now, do I mark it up differently? No, I mark it up the same. I don't use it as a way to make, to mark up my glass higher, so I can make extra. I do it the same. I mark it up the same as my clear. And so I don't want to, so I could try to better presentation at the end of the, install. So that's, yeah. I don't know if, yeah.
Yeah, so whenever you're using, we're kind of talking about like when you go from like 3/8 glass to 1/2 inch glass because of structure, because of hinging a door off of a panel. If you use Showers Online to do design, then Showers Online has a built-in kind of recipe
red flag
for where and when you should go ahead and move from 3/8 glass to 1/2 inch glass. And the rule of thumb seems to be like, if it's a fixed panel, you can go up to 30 inches with 3/8 before, they feel like you start to get some movement. And then with 1/2 inch glass, it's like up to 36 inches. But it's not like really a major, deal killer. I mean, you can exceed those. Mm-hmm. And for me, I just kind of let people know, hey, it might get a little bit wobbly if you go wider than 30 inches with 3/8 or something like that. But I know different people do it differently.
We seem to have had a big demand for just shower screens over the last 6 months. And in the first several, I was putting a 3/8, piece light of glass in, and there was that deflection, and I was having that conversation with the customers that you're going to have some deflection. And then I've been experimenting recently with putting 1/2 inch in, and it's made in my opinion, it's made a big difference. There's still some deflection, but it's not as significant as the 3/8 panels. But Bill, I had a question going back to your point about hanging a light of glass off of. So if to me, this is where I may be incorrect. I hang a 3/8 door off of a 1/2 inch panel because of the door is not as heavy, or not theoretically, in reality. But are you saying that you can hang a 1/2 inch door off of a 1/2 inch panel and it's not a structural issue, with no header and things like that?
Mike, I'm a little bit of an anomaly because we're using only pivots. So, and that came up this week during somebody made a post about that situation, and they didn't say what kind of hinges they were using. So it's hard to ask a group a question without telling you what hardware you're using, right?
Okay.
So pivots, don't forget, most of your weight is down on the base.
You're right.
You're not really hanging all that weight off the adjacent panel.
Got you.
So again, if you're using glass to glass, sure, it's totally different, totally. And we can get away with pivots. So we do predominantly 1/2 inch. Most of the 3/8 we're doing are sliding doors only. But when you're getting into a swing door, even a single swing door, most of what we do, not 100%, is 1/2 inch.
1/2 inch.
Now, the other thing is the deflection as you go up in the height. I don't know if you notice it when you're carrying the glass on 3/8, you'll see some flex to it. Just like if you're carrying plywood, you'll see a 3/8 flex in a 1/2 inch plywood. Glass is not as evident, but it's there. So, and we're getting a lot of very tall doors, and therefore we're recommending 1/2 inch just because of the height and the stiffness to it.
Yeah.
So the clarity, the width, and the height. And then the last thing is our guys install in teams all the time.
Mm-hmm.
They're not going out individually.
Same here.
If you're handling 1/2 inch glass by yourself, it's tough.
Yeah.
Especially if you're going up staircases around corners and then just stacking it up, making sure you're not hitting the floor and breaking the glass. So it depends how you're set up, what your crews are set up for.
Yeah.
So I've got a question about the 1/2 inch versus 3/8, I guess. But so that you've got the 30 inch rule for 3/8. I actually hadn't heard the 36 inch rule, quote unquote, for 1/2 inch. Thank you for that, Chris. But so deflection or wobble, that's always the question that comes up. And that's always the thing that I tell the customer is, anything over 30 inches, my supplier doesn't want to do it or won't do it without some sort of top support. My intuitive mind says that the reason that we don't want to do that is because the potential for breaking if somebody falls against it. Again, I'm just being intuitive here, but do you guys have a definitive answer for when it wobbles, say somebody has a heart attack and falls against it, then is the potential for breakage because we're putting a lot of stress on that bottom, say if you use clamps or clips, is the potential for breakage because you're forcing the glass to twist inside the clip? I'm guessing at that. It makes sense, but that's just a guess.
Yeah, I don't really think it is an issue of breakage. I mean, I think you're more apt to break the screw off of the clip than you are to break the glass. I don't think you can really break glass by falling against it. Not something 3/8 or 1/2 inch thick. I mean, I think if you got a running start down the hall, ran around, and you just bounce off.
Right.
But once you got that much leverage, I think it's the wobble factor is just more of a comfort. It's like it's a little disconcerting when your glass is wobbling like that. And even in showers online, you can exceed that. It won't like stop you from saving it like it will if you don't add enough hinges or if you do something that's they consider unsafe. So I don't know, I hope that
Cardinal gives me a warranty waiver. I assume they do everybody else as well.
Yeah, actually, it's not even a warranty issue for me. I inform people, yeah, this it'll incur movement, and I'd really advise against it. But if they insist on it, I'll do it. It's not really a safety issue, the way that I understand it, and I could be totally wrong, but that's the way I understand it. And hey, I have to say. That we've got James Aiken with us for the first time. I've been trying to get him to come on here forever, and now he's finally showed up. Unmute yourself, James, and introduce yourself and tell everybody who you are. Oh, you're on mute.
There you go.
Ah,
How you doing, Chris?
good to see you, bud.
Yeah, nice seeing you, man. It's been a while. Yeah, and Bill, nice seeing Bill in there. My name is James Aiken. I'm the CEO and founder of Diamond Seal Systems. Before Diamond Seal Systems, we had a shower door company out here in Southern California. It was a Rainbow Companies. We did commercial production shower doors. We did heavy glass Euros. Did those out of high school, actually, back in the early 80s. So I have a lot of experience in the glass business, especially in the shower door business. And then in the 90s, mid 90s, got into nanotechnology, started fiddling around with some chemistry. And then I was invited to NASA in 2000. They heard about what we were doing. And we were invited to NASA with our technology, and it really kind of solidified what we were doing. And back in the 90s, we had a heavy recession. A lot of the shower door companies were going out of business big time. All kinds of businesses were, especially in the construction business out here. And so it was a natural progression for us to kind of go into the coating industry for shower doors, to make them hydrophobic and hygienic and all that kind of stuff. And what we did is we helped other glass shops stay in business by adding that value for their customers. Keep those doors open, because if they could make an extra $50 or $100 or even $200 on a shower door, they kept their people employed, and so that really excited me. And then being invited to NASA with our technology, we had true nanotechnology that actually made a 3-bridge covalent bond to the last standing oxygen atom. I can go into science and bore you people to death.
Science.
Yeah, a lot of science. So we got into that, and we made a business out of it, believe it or not. So I don't know if anybody's heard of Diamond Seal or Diamond Seal Systems. We're not affiliated with the other companies. We are the manufacturer. We're the original guys. We started doing this back in '95.
Absolutely.
And so the technology that we have is proprietary. We do have a patent, and we don't do hocus pocus. We're California casual. You like our stuff, you want to use it, great. We'll help you out in every way we can, show you how to put it on, show you how to make a few bucks with it. And, the bottom line is to keep the customer happy. So that's the bottom line. You want to keep them happy. Anybody can sell dog shit. My dad told me years ago, he was a sales guy, he was a yacht broker. And he says, anybody can sell dog shit in a nice package one time. But if you're selling something in a nice package and it works, they're going to keep coming back. So that's kind of it in a nutshell.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, thanks for being here.
Yeah.
I'm really glad that you decided to join us. And I think
we've been busy. We started a car line, and it's a private label. And a company came to me a few years back, and they said, "Hey, do you have anything for cars?" And I said, "Oh, sure we do." So I kind of geared up our stuff towards a car line, and it just absolutely exploded the business. And so we've been really busy with that. So
I'm glad to hear that, man.
Yeah, we just bought a building, and so things are going really good. Yeah.
Any relation to Diamond Fusion or anything like that? Or
No, Diamond Fusion came to us some years ago. They wanted to buy some of our product, which they did. They wanted to do some business with us. Kind of left a bad taste in our mouth. We just didn't go that way. We wanted to stay exclusive to ourselves and true to ourselves. So we have no relations with them. They're down in San Clemente. We're out here in Riverside, California, and we are a true manufacturer of the technology. We don't buy from other people and relabel it.
so how does yours relate to, let's say, Clear Shield or Endura Shield or some of those similar type of technology?
No.
Nope.
If you're looking at like Clear Shield, it's a decent product. It's a spray-on product. We don't believe in spray-on products because you're not actually penetrating the hydrogen barrier on glass. Everything has hydrogen on it. And when you're talking about nanotechnology, you have to break that hydrogen barrier to get to that last standing oxygen molecule to make that chemical exchange in the glass. So people that have spray-ons or vapor form products, they don't really have that longevity that go along with the technology. So, and usually that stuff, you'll find stuff like Endura Shield. I think they're saying they have a covalent bond. I don't see it. It might be a physical bond. They might have a single bridge bond. Ours is a 3-bridge bond, and those are just electrons attaching to the atom. So that's what's going to give you the longevity.
Does that mean it's
like
linking to itself or linking to the glass?
Yes, very good.
Linking to glass.
So glass is 73% silicous. The rest of it is magnesium, calcium, and then has a little iron in it. And iron is what gives that glass a green hue. So when you're talking about half-inch glass, like Bill was talking about, it's going to have a greener hue to it, unless you go with a whitewater or Starfire glass. You go with those kind of glass, they take the iron out, and that gives you a real clear image. So having those elements in the glass, you're going to have what we call a last standing oxygen atom at the surface of the glass. Glass has a surface structure. It's like your hand. So the glass has a mid structure, and then on the surface, it has peaks and valleys. And what we want to do, and in here, you can have all kinds of stuff. You can have hydrogen, you can have oxygen, and a few other elements. You want to blow all that out, but you can't blow out that last standing oxygen atom. So what you do is you bond a carbon atoms to that last standing oxygen atom, and they bond to each other. So you get this thing, and they're bonding all the way to the surface. So it's a true seal, is what it is. We do have a top coat that goes on there. The top coat's going to last for a couple of years. The original coat, the Diamondize XP, is going to last forever as long as you maintain it properly. If you're going in and using Ajax and Clorox or scrubbing agents or acids, it's going to break down. And everybody knows that on anything. I don't care what surface you're dealing with, whether it's granite or even tile, porcelain tile, it's going to break down. So if you maintain it properly by not using acids and Clorox, but using a product, we like to promote our own product, the Blue Wash. It's a 0 VOC product. It's a non-chemical product. You can spray it on the shower door and on the metal, and it just enhances the performance, and it keeps the shower door looking nice. And it's very inexpensive for the client to use. If they don't want to use that, they can just use soft scrub or a little soap. If they get body oil, or if they get any calcium on the glass or magnesium on the glass, because water has magnesium and calcium in it, and it's going to want to bond. It's going to want to bond to the glass. So sometimes you get a little of that, but it comes right off like if it was Teflon.
So pretty much it's like Diamond Fusion a little bit, right? Because Diamond Fusion, they do the same thing, right?
Diamond Fusion, they use a vapor form product. Their wipe-on product, I don't believe, is their own, but the vapor form product is a hydrochloric acid carrying agent. I don't recommend it. I mean, hydrochloric acid is just, it's nasty stuff, man. I wouldn't recommend it. And the thing about it is when you're spraying stuff or when you're using a vapor chamber, you're really not penetrating down to get to that oxygen atom. It's kind of like a superficial coating that might last, 6 months to maybe a couple of years, and that by that time, the customer really doesn't care by that time.
So it's not worth it, man.
No, for us, we don't charge, there's no royalties with us. There's no,
who do you sell to?
there's no minimums with us. You know, if you want a glass shop, you can buy from me.
So is this something I gotta spray on myself and cure and apply it here in my shop, or?
Yeah,
I
you'd
don't
want to
want-
do it in your shop. You can
Okay.
do it in the field. And we can go over how you do that in the field, but it's real
So
simple.
I had one of your guys' sales reps call me one time, introduced me to you guys, to your product,
Okay.
and it just, when they told me I had to do it myself, I'm like, ugh. I'm like, man, it comes already with the on it. I'm like, forget it. Like, forget
Well, you
it.
have to clean the glass before you give it to your client, right? You're
I
gonna clean the
always
glass.
I
right?
always clean my glass. Oh yeah.
So it's basically doing that. It's basically all you're doing. You clean the glass, you put this on a little pad, rub it in the glass, and then you hit it
Yeah.
with a little blue wash, and you're done. It's so simple.
Yeah, and I think it was like, I forgot how much they quoted me, how much it was. It was like more than half what old
No,
Captain charged me.
your cost is going to be below 20 cents a square foot as a dealer.
That's
Okay.
that's what they told me.
Yeah, 20
okay,
cents.
yeah.
And everybody else is anywhere from 50 cents to $2.
$3.
$3. Retail,
Yeah.
$6.
Yep.
So
Now, how does the product respond to like a silicone? If you were to apply it and then you wanted to seal the shower with a regular silicone, how does it respond to that?
it's in the family, which means that it won't hinder the silicone from sealing.
Okay.
It's in the family, okay? Which means it has some of the same characteristics, chemical characteristics as silicone.
I have to do that.
We don't want to have our daylight corners coming apart. We don't want to have our hinges coming off, right? So it's not going to have that effect. Some glass shops, I think Chris might do it, where when you have the heavy glass, the 3/8 or the 1/2 inch, they might block off where you put the little butterfly or the Mickey Mouse hinge. You might block off maybe a 1/4 inch right there or tape it off. Some guys do because they just don't trust it, but it's fine.
Yeah, I don't do that.
I don't do that either.
Yeah.
Nah.
Mm-mm.
Too much work.
Good. Yeah, I've had a lot of experience with that product, and I love it. And I like.
You
the
like it,
guys.
Chris?
Yeah, I do. And I like the guys. I like Jim and John and the brothers. They're
Four brothers, yeah.
they've always been good folks.
I gotta find the email that you guys sent us. I gotta check it out.
Yeah, check it out.
Yeah, we go way back.
I think you guys came by. I think one of your reps came by my office.
Where are you located?
In Yuba City. I'm like 40 minutes north of Sacramento.
Possibly. We don't get out as much as we used to.
I think it was. I don't know if you guys visit. I think you guys called us. I don't remember. It's been a few months. So
Have you guys heard of PRL? You've heard of PRL, right? In LA? Los
no,
Angeles?
the glass company. Yeah, the
PRL.
manufacturer,
They're one of the largest in Los Angeles. They've been with us since 98, believe it or
yeah.
not.
What's his name?
Going
Yeah.
way back.
Yeah, I had a few guys tell me to go to order from them, but I heard they're kind of a little pricey on the pricey end.
Yeah, well, they're a fabricator, and they do everything from storefront, curtain wall. I mean, they do it all. So
Yeah.
if you're going to do curtain wall, if you do storefront or curtain wall, we have a titanium dioxide coating that is photoreactive, that reacts with the sun, that makes the glass cheat the water off instead of beating the water down. So that's a whole different, really cool technology. It converts carbon monoxide to carbon dioxide, which in turn feeds trees. And it's a really green, it's a very green product.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, these
use
guys.
it in Japan. They use it in Japan to on freeway walls to reduce the carbon emissions.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, these guys have like a number of products. It's not just like other guys, have just like glass treatment, whatever treatment.
I might have to
hydrophobic coating,
revisit
got a
my
lot.
email that I got.
Yeah, check
Kinda
us
late.
out. Check us out. I'm just here to educate. I'm not here to really
What,
sell
what's it
anybody.
called? What is it called again? Diamond what? Diamond what?
Diamond Seal Systems.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're a system. Yeah.
Right on. That's awesome. Well, hey,
Let me
so
ask
that's a bunch of
something
people
real
from
quick.
California. James from California, Adrian's from California. I'm
Hey, real
from
quick on that.
California.
Real quick on that heavy glass situation. When we did heavy glass, we wanted to make sure when we got our glass from the manufacturer, from the fabricator, that our cutouts didn't have any oysters or didn't have any seams or didn't have any exposure the exposure was like any bright spots, because those are your weak points in the glass. If you over push the glass inward or outward, those are the weak spots of the glass. You know, and same thing with the cutouts for the towel bars or the handles. Those were the weak spots.
Yeah, sure. Any place you drill a hole or make a notch, you know,
You got to polish it. You got to sand it out really good and polish it and make sure there's no oculations or anything.
I always do.
You're good.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
Could I ask one more question about
Please
that?
do. Yeah.
Okay. Is it a very slick surface, kind of like the Clear Shield, or is it like EnduraShield where it just feels like it's glass?
No, it's going to be slick.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be very smooth, because what you're doing is you're closing out the pores of the glass.
Gotcha.
That's why it's smooth. It's not like you're putting snot on the glass. Okay, that's not why it's smooth. It's because you're closing those pores of the glass.
Sure.
Just making it very easy
Making
to
it
maintain.
smoother. Yeah, you're taking away some of the roughness of it. Yeah, and you can tell by touching it if it's been treated or not.
Yeah, you do it. You touch it with your knuckles, because your fingers have oils. So if you touch it with your knuckles, you can really tell the difference.
Oh yeah, okay, that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah.
Awesome, man.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate the information, and maybe I'll reach out to learn more about the product and the chemistry.
It's a money maker, and people love it, and the retail on it. People like we have a bath kit that people like to use. They use it on I have a lot of glass shops. I don't know if Chris does this. Chris buys our blue wash for his customers. And I think he might even give it away for free to his clients.
Yeah.
But some guys even get the bath kit. You go in and sell a $2,000, $3,000 shower door in the master. And, they got another shower door that's hard to clean downstairs, but it's a good unit, but the glass kind of looks bad. Give them a bath kit, or charge them for a bath kit. It's $44.95. And they're going to come back to you and say, you know what? I used it on my shower door. I loved it. I took off the water spots. Our Diamond Luster takes the water spots off the glass and off the metal, off your brushed metals, or even off your anodized, your dipped anodized, your brushed anodized aluminum. Takes the water spots off like nothing. Yeah.
The
Bath kits are good.
Yeah, these guys have like a whole bunch of different products. Check out their website. Yeah, Diamond Seal Systems. Yeah, they've got a lot of good products.
Yeah.
Awesome, man.
Yeah. It's good.
So anyway, getting back to what were we talking about? We were talking about
Heavy glass.
half-inch glass.
I'll hang out. I know a little bit about glass.
Yeah, I know you do.
Now,
We're talking about deflection.
when you guys hang big pieces of glass, like say you got to use half-inch, what hardware are you guys using? Are you guys using the heavy duty clamps with the GE? Oh God, the P something 90 190 or
P190.
Yeah.
P190.
You guys ever use those for that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's okay. So I was all right. So I do the same thing too. I was just wondering if anyone else does it too, or is just
we use
Yeah.
BCU4s and stuff, but the other ones are great. They're just really expensive. That's all.
Yeah, and I mean, if you're swinging a door off a fixed panel, it's a glass to glass type situation, then it's really recommended that you use those, kind of offset. You can get 3 screws in one of those, instead of just one, the regular SU4 or whatever. But
Do you guys like having the return bar on the top to hold that stationary panel?
don't like to. I mean, try to avoid that if we can.
We did a few like that. We also capped them sometimes with a panel on the top for the steamers.
Yeah.
Got caught a few times though. Got caught a few times doing those. They're illegal.
They're illegal.
Yeah, unless you have in California, unless you have a vent or fan inside the shower. Yeah, they're illegal.
You can't put a lid on top of your shower?
Yeah, lid. Yeah, glass lid.
Oh, sure. I made one out the other day for that.
Oh, yeah.
I've never done it before.
Yeah, I have never done that either. For those who are listening,
Yeah, we did a few. We
But
did
I
quite-
did it-
we did a few of those.
I bid it so high though. I bid it like almost $9,000 and just to scare the guy away, and he went away. I didn't want to do it.
I didn't want to. They made me.
There's a 45. There's a 45 clip you put up there, so it holds everything together. But we always had to do it where we shorted the door, and then we put a vent panel above the door. These are always tall units.
That's what I was gonna do. I was gonna put a vent panel on it too. So I was gonna. Yeah, but they still wanted a lid because they didn't tile the ceiling, or they didn't go all the way up to the ceiling with the tile. I'm like, oh, okay. So they wanted a lid. I'm like, and the way I was gonna do, I was gonna get some L bar and go in the back, go to the back of the wall, and then just lay it on top.
Oh yeah, and like an L channel.
L channel, yeah. And then I was gonna make sure that my both end pieces were fixed panels, so it sat on something solid instead of the vent panel.
Right.
So I'll just make sure that it was nice and solid. Took some thinking, but I got it.
Another thing about using pivots like Bill does is that you don't need as much structure, on your fixed panel. If you're going glass to glass, like I feel totally comfortable using just SU4s, like I would a regular fixed panel. If I'm using the pivots. Because again, like all the weights on the bottom, there's very little torque on that panel.
Just like a Herculite.
Yeah, it's the top pivot, So that's another advantage of that. And then Bill's got his own hardware. I don't know how many of you guys know that, but the pivots he's got are like the bomb. I mean, if you're using CRL hardware and you go to a 1/2-inch panel, you need the senior Prima or the senior Cardiff, and it's like a huge hinge, like a commercial door hinge or something. And Bills are like, they're a little bit bigger, I think, than the regular Cardiff, but like way smaller than senior Cardiff. And they're just nice, and they hold. So how much weight can one of those things hold? Do you know, Bill, off the top of your head?
They say 200 pounds.
Wow.
What's your max door width?
Depends on your height, right? Because you got to get your weight together. So if
it's
you're using a
based on
1/2-inch glass.
So it's just based on weight, not by
Well,
width.
no, not just based, because let's go the other way. Let's say it's only 3 foot wide, but it's 8 feet long. Well, obviously, right. So there is a width, but you got to make. But the thing about the pivots is you can counterbalance them too. If you're using a header or you're going to the soffit, you don't have to be all the way out at the edge of the glass. Bring the pivots in 6 inches.
You can bring it in, yeah.
And you can bring the head over also 6 inches. So if you're using a header and you put the top pivot up into the header, or go right up into the soffit or ceiling, if there's anchoring up there. So then you can get away with doing a single door on a 45-inch opening if you want to bring over that pivot. It looks a little odd. It's almost like a revolving door at that point, but you can do it.
Yeah.
But I got to watch the weight. So I start looking around 200 pounds is when we got to start thinking of something
200
different.
pounds is a lot of weight.
It's a lot of weight.
That's a big
lot of weight.
door, even a 1/2-inch.
Yeah, I don't want to carry that panel.
No, well, that's the thing.
Right?
Look, the guys don't. And that's what I was talking about before. Are your guys set up for that? I mean, lugging that into the house and getting it set, that's some stress.
It is.
Mhm.
And you got to charge enough for that.
Mhm.
Not only the man hours, but
Risk.
yeah. But it's
Now-
it's a beautiful door.
To kind of ping pong back to the topic of deflection, do you guys have a personal preference as far as both width and height of a stationary fixed panel where you'll add a support bar, whether it be, returning to the wall or if it's a vertical bar to the ceiling? The reason I ask is I just had a customer today that's looking for a fixed spray panel, 77 inches wide by anywhere between 84 and 96, which is massive for me. And I'm working up numbers, and I'm wondering, like, at what point do I keep it tall and go with a support bar straight up to kind of keep it, or do I keep it low and return that support bar back to the wall? Just curious if you guys have like a
Support?
rule of thumb that you live by.
Yeah, the support bars are kind of huge. The ones that take 2 holes in the top that
Mhm.
are real big round and they go up, but they work great.
Yeah, I've used them before.
Now, the other thing I do is I take a support bar sometimes and I angle it at a 45 to the ceiling if the ceiling's low enough. And then here's something I just did recently. I'm going to try to show you right there. I don't know if you can see it or
A little
not.
bit. Yeah, a little.
Can you see
Yeah.
that?
Yeah, I can kind of see it.
Yeah,
And the
barely.
people loved it, man. They loved it. It was just, I was kind of proud to come up with that idea, but I just did one panel out at the end all the way to the ceiling.
Oh, and then the door against the wall.
Yeah, and
Okay.
they loved the look of it.
Yeah, I did one of
know?
those about a month ago, and she loved it too. Yeah,
Mhm.
she was thrilled.
So, but I didn't want to lug. To be honest with you, I told him I wasn't going to do a panel, one big panel all the way to the ceiling, all the way across, or even higher than I went. Just because it's so big, you can't get it through doorways. You
Yeah.
get it up the steps and all that. So this was a great compromise, and it turned out, I think, pretty cool. So
Here's one I did with a lid on it. I don't know if you guys can see that.
Oh yeah.
I came across this book that I had. This was my sales book way back.
That's old school.
Yeah, and my contractor's license 1991. Yeah. So I mean, I look at my number and it's a pretty old number. But yeah,
So was that an illegal lid that you did there?
this one was illegal. There's no vent, there's no window, there's no exhaust. See, they want to be able to get in there if somebody falls down, and they want to be able to see the body.
Mm.
So, and if it's all steamed up in there, they can't see the body. So that's what I was told.
See the body.
They want to
Okay.
see the body. But you guys remember these things, right? The yellow submarine doors.
Yeah.
These neo angles with all the metal. Oh my God!
So
I gotta
take a
do
trip
one.
down
I gotta
memory
do one next
lane,
week like
man.
that. I gotta do one next week like that.
Yeah.
You know
that's a lot of
what's
metal.
funny about when Jim was talking about seeing the body? That's one of the same reasons that you can't have a door swing in only,
And only.
Right.
Yeah.
as opposed to swinging in and out. Because if they have to get to the body,
Yeah.
now
And it's
there
got
is
to
an
be more than 22 inches.
Yeah, and
That's a
there's
big no-no with me.
there's
I
other
wouldn't do that.
exceptions. It's the amount of cubic feet inside. No, not cubic feet, square foot. So if the footprint is enough where they can push the door and still push the body, then you can get away with it. I don't know. It's some weird thing, but we don't have it. We don't do them where they swing in only.
No,
We just don't.
it wouldn't
But
work.
we'll allow it to swing in and out. That's no problem.
You guys have
Right.
a disclosure on your contracts when you get your customers to sign?
We all
I have
do.
a terms and conditions.
You do?
Oh yeah, I do, and I send
We-
it to all of them.
But
We
do you
had a
enforce
long
it?
dis-
That's the question. Do you enforce it?
There you go.
I
Yeah.
do. Yes, I do. Yes.
It usually requires a
When
second
I
signature.
when I tell my customers, "Did you read the terms and conditions?" I get a big long silent from them. I don't hear nothing, and so
Yeah.
because it explains all the gaps and everything. And if they get leaks, I mean, I go by the book. I mean, I'm not gonna pay for nothing that I already told them. No way. So sometimes they'll get like, I had a customer the other day tell me that, oh, the water is leaking through the hinges. I'm like, are you spraying at them? So yeah. I'm like, okay, well, did you read my
Oh,
terms and
don't do
conditions?
that.
And I go, did you read my terms and conditions? And they go, oh, let me see. Oh, okay. And it's the first paragraph, well, third paragraph that shows that, hey, don't do that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm not gonna.
Yeah, but they
Well-
might hold you responsible and not pay you the balance until you do something to make them happy, kind of
Right,
thing.
they'll hold
Then,
your.
then it becomes a fight,
Well,
and then
but-
it
well, but-
becomes your reputation because they might want to ding you on a review or something.
Nah, they won't. No, but I mean, at that point, I'm already got paid. So I mean,
Well,
it is
the
what it is.
retail,
I get done. When I get done, I'm getting paid. If not, I go inside, I'll take a handle off and I'll leave, and then they'll call me back. Hey, I need to get paid. You
Well,
want
you know-
you want this handle? I'll put it on. You gotta pay me. I've
Well,
done that
you-
before.
Yeah. Well,
I've walked in. Huh?
Yeah. Well, in California, the customer has a right to a 10% retention for 30 days. California law. But, nobody says it, right?
Nope. I didn't know
Nobody
about
says
that.
it. You know who knows it is your contractor knows it. So he's the guy holding your retention. And they always do. From back in my day, they always did.
I hate to be the person to say this, but I think that might be why a lot of people from California are now moving to Georgia.
Yeah, that could be the reason.
It could be. It could be part of it.
Part of it, for sure, yeah. Well, hey, getting back to Brian's question, I don't know if anybody really has substantially answered that question. So he was kind of wondering at what point do you personally feel like you need to add some support at the top? Is it is it at 30 inches? If it's 3/8 glass, or, will you go to 40 inches or?
I've gone a lot further, but I always tell the customer, hey, it's going to wobble. And I say, we can do a support bar. We could do a support bar after the fact if you're not happy with it. And then I have as a disclaimer that any additional hardware added later would be for an additional cost.
Right. Well, that's a good idea. Because it's true, you can always add something later.
I don't know if there's a rule of thumb. Maybe there is, but I think a big part of what we have to do is analyze every situation and utilize our experience and
That's right.
and also, have safety in mind. I don't think they're going to fall out. I think it takes a heck of a lot to bust a piece of tempered glass, but I think it's an individual thing. I think it is incumbent on us, Brian, to just have that conversation with Deflection and offer options. But to say there's a rule of thumb, we've done some big ones this year that have made me, I've had a more intense conversation about the wobble and just to make sure everybody's on the same page. But I think it's incumbent upon us as the professional and the person in the know to analyze each situation and share our thoughts on that particular install. Just my 2 cents.
I think being upfront, let them to know what they're going to expect is probably as honest as you can be, and that way, if they come back to you and say, hey, this stationary panel, I bump into it when I get the shower door and it's moving back and forth, what can we do about it? But if you're honest up front, then, you can just say, hey, this panel's going to move a little bit,
Right.
We did a panel, but we did a panel that was actually, we had a company, begged them to make it. It was a 72 by 60, by 160, 72 by 160.
Whoa.
Yeah. It was for a wine cellar. And it was all encapsulated. So it was all supported all the way around. But that took 4 guys. That took 4 guys.
How thick was that?
What's that?
How thick was it? 3/8?
It was only 3/8, or it was only 3/8. Yeah,
Wow.
it was skinny. It was flimsy. I wanted to do 1/2 inch on it. Actually, yeah, I wanted to do 1/2 inch. It was 3/8 on that one. Yeah, yeah.
Pretty heavy.
We did some huge bent panels too. Some tempered lammy. We did tempered lammy for some bent glass shower doors that were just huge. And that again, I remember doing that down here by in Newport Beach. We had 4 guys carrying that thing in up these grand stairs to get that. Oh my God, it was two big pieces. They had the shower stem in the middle, and then the glass went around both sides.
Wow.
Was the glass wavy? Was the glass wavy?
No, actually it wasn't, believe it or not, I had, it was California glass bending.
California glass, I knew it was you. I was going to say that.
Yeah.
They're the only
they
ones
did a good job.
do it around here.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Does that help, Brian?
Yeah, helps.
That's, for me, that's exactly what I do is I just have this conversation, They'll say, hey, this is what I want. I want this, something this big, this, that big, whatever. And just say, hey, we'll check it out. Once you realize that, if it's 3/8 glass and it's that wide, it's going to be wobbly. If we can make it 1/2 inch glass and it won't wobble as much. And that's always a good opportunity to to upsell.
Yeah.
There's
Which is the
something
conversation I had. Yeah. Mentioned that would be the option, sent a couple pictures saying this is what it'll look like if you're open to it. If you're not open to it, I would prefer that we go up to 1/2-inch glass to reduce the deflection, not eliminate it, because you got to be specific about that, right? Sometimes you say reduce and they hear eliminate. It's tough sometimes.
Right.
They hear what they want to hear, right?
That's a fact.
Well, we had a conversation, I don't know if it was last week or the week before, about installing other people's doors, like if you buy a Dreamline or something. And some years ago, there was one that I got roped into. The tile guy was one of my customers, and the homeowner had talked him into doing a door, and he got into trouble and he needed help. So I went out, and what was really cool though, and what I learned is that whatever manufacturer that was, they had a glass shelf that mounted onto a fixed panel, and it bridged over to the wall. And the hardware, it kind of added a support for that big panel. Okay. So it required, I think, like 2 holes in the big panel. It had these little clamps that went into the big panel that gripped onto the glass shelf. And then the glass shelf bridged over to the same wall that the panel was attached to. Okay. And it had clamps there, but that added some additional stability. So here's another trick. Okay. You can actually kind of sell somebody on a support bar, tell them that if you do it right, you can actually create a little towel bar for them that bridges at a 45. So instead of going at 45 to the ceiling, you can come out from the wall, let's say 1.5 feet or so, 20 inches, and go at a 45 to the wall, and tell them they can, put washcloths on that, or even towels or whatever.
And your pantyhose on there.
Yeah, you can put something on there. And I've got some pictures. I have, actually, it's hard to even tell that that's what it is. But on my website, I have a shower door where somebody does have a towel on a fixed panel and it's away from the shower head, so they can actually put towels in there, draped on it. But that helps supported that panel. And actually, I hinged a door off that panel, and that was one reason for having that bar there. So
the other
and that support bar at the same time.
Yeah, the other option too is to just take just a transom piece and go from the front of that stationary panel and connect that to the wall to kind of eliminate the overbearing hardware that a lot of people don't like to see on these things, where the support bar kind of stands out a little bit more.
Right. Well, sometime we can maybe talk a little bit about people's experience with UV, but I've done some UV as for a transom fixed. And, so there's no hardware.
So clamped it to the wall and then UV'd it to the panel?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't consider myself an expert at UV, but okay, I've done it several times and actually made a corner door that was an L-shaped door UV'd together, and it pivots open. So you open up a corner of a shower. I've done that twice.
Oh, wow.
And that's all UV glued.
Hey, wow. James, have you experimented with any UV bonding on your surface substrates?
No, I have not. The only that terminology brings to mind just our titanium dioxide, or that's a UV rated, UVB, UVA rated product. But no, I haven't dealt with that. I don't know what the adhesion would be on something like that.
So with a lot of the products, one of the biggest issues is moisture. When it comes to the UV bonds and how it actually bonds to the surface itself, you actually have to fill the voids of the actual tempering to be able to bond properly. We don't do it as much, of course, in the shower door application, but we do We've done the Pandora boxes. We've done structural salad bar cases, that kind of thing. And I've always been intrigued that your industries would connect with we deal with companies over in Germany, but would connect with some of those industries to help provide a good engineered surface to bond to. I've always been intrigued with that, but
I'll have to look into that. I'm not knowledgeable in UV bonding.
very similar to your industries as far as filling all the molecular structures on top of the surface of the glass.
Yeah,
And
but
when
it's heated in, right? I mean, it's baked in, or induction.
It-
You
it's-
use an induction sealer or some kind of heating mechanism.
no, it's
just,
actually
just use UV light
UV
to
light.
cure it.
Okay, so you
To cure it,
UV
yeah.
red, yeah. So, and that makes it bond. Well, yeah, you know what? That kind of brings up something. God, we did have a UV bonding. We were going to bring something to market years ago because you just kind of brought it up. We were at a show, and we were meeting a company out there, and I think they were from Germany, and they had a bar that would go over a conveyor belt, and the glass would go under it, and I think. I don't know how it worked. I'm just kind of going off memory here. I think it would flash heat the surface, I guess you could say, and so it would make your material basically off-gassed instantaneously. We don't need that with our material. Our material takes 3 seconds to flash off. A lot of materials could take up to 24 hours. Ours takes 3 seconds to flash off the surface. So that was a lot of technology. So we didn't need that. We didn't need the UV technology to help our product bond.
Yeah.
No, I think my not to help it bond, but here if I take a UV bond to your product, I'd be curious to see if I took a shelf, for instance, or oops, I messed the towel bar or something I need on the outside, or say where your surface is. I'm curious to see how that bond would be, how well that bond would be.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. Well, what is the material? Is it just what's the material that they use?
I'd have to get into the sciences of it. I don't know the exact types. You know, I know it's not polymer.
Well,
no, it's not. It's probably more of a.
I think UV glues are used in dentistry, for maybe white fillings because they put the UV light in there real quick to kind of cure it.
Yeah.
And there's a company here locally where I'm in Georgia, that has like a gigantic dot matrix printer that uses UV ink and it's like a UV light. So as it can program pictures to print out on the glass.
Mm-hmm.
And it gets cured as it goes through the UV light.
Yeah.
And, extremely strong stuff. So
it would have to be a glue.
Yeah, it is a glue.
Some sense.
It is a glue. Yeah. And so it's extremely strong. It's probably the strongest glue there is.
Yeah, then I think I know what it is. It's just the name eludes me. I can't think of the it's not a monomer, it's not a polymer, it's not anything like that.
Yeah.
It's more like super glue or something like that.
Yeah.
I
think you're right.
Yeah.
Kind of in that family.
Yeah, like a resin. You can heat a resin and you can harden it really quick.
Well, that's what like 3D printing, like what I use in 3D printing is their resins. And it uses UV light to cure. So it's a UV cure. It's like a glue, it's a plastic.
Yeah. One thing I didn't like about that guy's system at the show, the light system that he had, is that you had to wear goggles, and that scared me because the light was just it was a light beam that shot down on the glass, and he said, "Don't tip this thing over and look at it. You're done." And I'm like, "What the hell would I want that for?" You
need more hazards in your life.
Yeah. As I get older, you want to get less hazards, right? Jeez.
Exactly.
Chris, what are you doing? You said you have something like that. There's a UV ink.
No, I do 3D printing. So the products that I produce, I actually manufacture with 3D.
Gotcha.
And it takes a resin, different kinds of resins. I mean, there are resins with different properties. Some are stronger, some are more flexible. So depending on what the tool needs to do, I choose a resin that works for that. And it's all done by I have all the old school 3D printers that like actually put down like a layer of material one by one, over time. But the newer ones actually use UV light to cure the resin. It's pretty cool. It makes really super high. What am I thinking?
High definition.
Yeah, high definition. Yeah, that's what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
Parts and stuff. So,
what really in the glass industry, what really blew me away was I went down to San Diego to meet with a guy who wanted to look at our coatings. And I went into his studio, and it was really dark studio, but he had these glass cubes, and they were really cool looking. I go, what are you doing with these glass cubes? And he goes, I'll show you. And he puts it in a machine, and he brings up a design, and it shoots it right inside the glass, like right in the middle of the cube. And like a dolphin or a whale or a dog or whatever, and it's right in the middle of the. That just blew me away. He just shot it right in there.
So does it stay in there afterwards?
Yeah.
Or?
Laser.
A previous company actually gave out these little glass cubes with our logo in it.
Yeah, but the logo was on the outside or was inside?
Inside.
And it was like floating inside, right?
Yes.
It looked that way. It's just amazing.
Yeah, they had it at the one of the glass shows. They had one of these machines there. I remember seeing the machine.
Crazy.
That's pretty cool.
I thought that was crazy. Another couple had a slump machine where they would take glass and make it into just a molten goo, and then they'd artistically shape it into a horse or something, and then put it on a piece of mirror and then hang it on your wall. That's crazy. People come up with some really far out stuff, but here you go. It's $8,000 to hang this on your wall.
Sky's the limit.
No thanks.
Awesome. Well, right on, guys. Well, we managed to fill up another hour chatting about shower doors and glass and stuff like that. It's amazing. I mean, we can just show up every week and do this over and over again.
Well, I
never get tired of it.
Bill has built a hell of a company in a short period of time, man. He's really doing something.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's in the water or what the hell he's doing.
I mean, there's another just great family. I mean, there's something about that. There's something about having a family.
I got my youngest boy over here.
Yeah.
He's still working. Say hi, Spence. Hi, everybody.
Hey, good job, Spence. Keep up the good work, man.
Yeah.
Get back to work.
Yeah. He's working late tonight.
Way to go, Spence.
That's awesome, man.
Well, you got to pass it on to somebody, right? I don't want to have to do this forever.
Can't have all the fun all by yourself.
My wife wants a vacation. I don't think we've had one for the last 20 years.
Exactly, right? Vacation from what?
What's that?
Right
Life's
on,
a
guys.
vacation.
That's right. Hey, thanks again for showing up. I invite you to come back again next Wednesday. See you then.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Later,
All right,
guys.
guys.
Good night.
Thanks
Good
for
night,
you guys.
everybody.
Bye, guys.
Thanks for coming, Jim. Hope to see you again.
You got it.
James, I didn't get
Thanks,
a hold
Chris.
of you, James.